Hey you guys, this is Allison, sped up, hanging out in my space to craft, and I'm voiceovering the entire video, including the intro that I don't usually do, because I was watching the Olympics. It's still Olympics time, so I'm trying to absorb as much of the fun action as I can while I scrapbook. This was a 2-page layout. It's for 2 large 8x10 photos that I had from many, many years ago, probably 1991 or 92. I need to look it up. It was for STS-49, a Space Shuttle Flight, and I did on-the-job training with the training team because I was working on Space Station. So I got to observe and participate in a lot of the training to learn how it was done for Space Shuttle so that I could apply some lessons learned to Space Station. So it's a big layout. At the end, I do pan out, fix this view a little bit so that you can see both pages. But I'm trying to make sure I'm getting them both the same size. I did trim off a little bit of the runway and a little bit of the cloudy sky. And then I had this is from Keller Creations. I've had it for years. It's actually, I think, intended as a Disney pack. So I just take off a couple of strips. I want to do, I think I start out with 2 inches for the top, or 2 2-inch borders, and then an 1.5 inch border. But then when I do them, I don't like that the stripes don't line up. So I do end up, you'll see me come back in and trim a little bit off each one so that I can line up the stripes. Had I planned ahead a little better, I would have made sure they matched. So you can see they're close, but I have to trim a little bit off each one to make all the stripes line up, and that makes my engineer heart happier. So I do keep that in. A little planning goes a long way. So I just line it up, and then I figure out, okay, it's at the yellow stripe is where the other one starts. So I take that little bit off, and then I go to the other one. So this is minimizing the amount that I have to take off either one and getting them the same. So they end up being a little less than 2 inches and 1.5 inches, but it's still the intended effect where there's a little bit broader one on the top and a skinnier one on the bottom. My original plan for this was to do the stripes all the way across and have it where the photo just looked like it was sitting on all striped paper. But I decided not to do that. And I like the way this came out, actually. So you'll see it develop. I did have to clean out when you get little paper in your channel, in your blade channel, your blade starts to stick a bit. So I do take a sharp implement periodically and clean out that process, that channel. All right, so now I'm going to matte both photos in red. I have to go off and find another sheet of red. So I just cut out a little bit where I was matting the first one and then running off to grab another piece of the same red. This cardstock is Creative Memories. It's from my very old stash. I do like the quality of their cardstock. It is solid core, so you don't get the white like you do with some cardstocks, which is pros and cons. It just depends on the style that you're going for a particular page. I also liked their cardstock that it was bonded. And so there's kind of a coating on it. It makes it not so great probably for stamping, or maybe it does. Maybe it is good for stamping. So I had a little bit of white showing there because that's white core cardstock. So I just used some black ink to mask that little bit of white showing. So I'm making the 2 pages very even, symmetrical, but then I'm like, I don't want the pictures just the same. So I'm going to do one up and one shifted down. And I think that makes things interesting. I had pulled this yellow paper, but I didn't want to pull out too much more yellow on this page because there's no yellow in the photo. It doesn't really fit, but I do have this blue. I will make use of this quite a bit for ephemera and a tag and some stuff like that. That's the back side of that striped paper. And I decide that I'm going to also use my Creative Memories border punch system. And I decide on this chevron. I wanted something graphic and, you know, I thought about a scallop that makes it a little more feminine. So I decided, let's go full on engineer and do a chevron. If you haven't used this border system before, it's pretty cool. You don't have to sight to line up the cuts, and you buy different cartridges to go in, and it's really easy to use. And they have tons of different cartridges. So you just line up your paper and then punch away. Some of them make an actual border, and then this one just happens to make a strip. So after I do this, I'm going to go off and make some ephemera because I don't have anything to go with this page. So I went off and I decided to do hexagons. Again, thinking engineering. I could have done some gears and stuff like that, but that didn't seem to really fit. I've already done some stars on some stuff. So I used some die cut letters. They're stitched to write training team. You can't see that. It's out of view right now, but it says training team. And then I had these new letters that I bought recently that are American Craft thickers, and they're very collegiate. And so I pulled STS-49 out of that. Then I had these stars from a Sizzix Space die cut. So I just went into my stash, y'all, and I thought the stars were fun, and more fun than just a regular star. That tag does not stay there. I move it. And then I also found this glitter washi tape. It's not very sticky, so I have to use glue. But I thought, let's add a little bling, because I had also used some glitter paper for some of the yellow inner parts of the stars. And so I thought, let's, instead of just that glitter being the only glitter to show up, let's get a little more glitter on the page. And I do only use this on the bottom. I had thought about doing it both top and bottom, but I was a little tight on space on one of them for at the top. And so I just scoot this down to closer to the photo. And then do the same over here. So the pages are very symmetrical, but I'm trying to keep a little interest on it by not making it quite duplicates of each other. And I do end up having to put extra adhesive on the back of these letters. They're not super, super sticky. And then now I start playing with the hexagons. The other thing that you can't quite see in the picture is I use some die cuts that I have for a little camera. And I did that in a polka dot black and some mirror cardstock and add a little red to it. You'll see it toward the end a little clearer. I didn't realize that my camera was not stretched all the way over. So I do struggle a while to make these hexagons fit. It probably would have been easier had I had more variety, but I didn't. I've been struggling a little on ephemera for these NASA photos. It's not like you can just, stick florals and just anything on there, because it's work and it's NASA and it's engineers and it's all, red and blue and yellow. So I'm gonna be ready for a break from NASA photos after I finish these pages. I do have a few more, but they're not quite as formal NASA photos related. So they get a little more interesting. So stick with me. But everybody, has these formal photos that you need to figure out something to do with them sometimes. So I think it's better rather than having them just sit in a folder in my filing cabinet, to get them in a book, and then I can write a few stories about them. So there you see the camera, and I am popping that up. So let's see. So yeah, I probably could have used some more of these stars. I made 3 of them. I'm just trying to figure out where I want things. And I have one little sticker that I found that said "This Special Time." It's a Vicky Boutin. I switched one of these out for black, and that's the same black polka dot paper that I used on the camera. So just bringing that somewhere else so that it brought a little balance. And then I'm just going to let that tag sit above on the clouds. It's not covering up anything important on that picture. And then I decide that I'm just going to cheat the title, training team, all the way over to the left of that right-hand page. And here's that little sentiment, which I liked. So it's coming together finally. I was a little bit on the struggle bus, trying to make it look fun and interesting. And here I go, adhering down. I do end up coming back after I finished videoing and adding a little bit of glue to those letters. Because they're die cut and they're stitched, the adhesive did not have great adhesion, I must say. So I did just add a little bit of, once I had them down where I wanted them, I added a little bit of liquid glue or glitter glue behind them. And that looks a little difficult to read from here, but it doesn't in real life. It does really pop off the page. So I'm sitting there thinking, what do I need to find some ribbon to go through that tag. And I have some red and white striped ribbon. And that I keep that in a drawer right behind my desk, but I have to move my chair to get into that drawer. Sorry guys, I paused there while my dog was barking. My daughter's getting off work here at 10 or 10:30, and she's ordered herself some DoorDash, so I'm waiting. Thought that might be them at the door. So now it's time to work on this. I don't know if I move this over where I can work on it. I apologize for not getting that. I'm not sure I keep that there, do I? See, I'm not happy with it. So I go off and I look for some enamel dots. And I had these Chamel. There's a little arrow that I added, which is off screen. You can't see it very well. And then some little iridescent white stars as well. So I kind of add those. And that makes me, since I have white on the letters and the tag, it helps a little bit. And the enamel dots are tourist mode from, I can't remember the manufacturer. But I love the colors in this kit. Some primaries, the blues, the reds, and the yellows were just perfect for this page. And we're about to go into real time so we can get a close-up look, and you can see that camera I made. So here we go. So there's that little camera. And my next video will be making a bunch of those cameras for a Ginger's corner swap. So there's training team, and then that tag, and then this little embellishment cluster there at the bottom. And here's where I realized I wasn't quite in screen, and I fixed my camera. There we go. So a little bit better view of the whole two-page layout. So I'm pretty happy with it actually in the end. I don't usually use black as a background, but it was the right answer. And then I'm just showing you the extra little stickers that I found, and a little bit better view of those clusters. So thanks for watching, and come back for that Ginger's Corner swap.